Hi there, it's Nicole from Mama Elephant, and today's card showcases the new His Love stamp set, newly released in February 2017 from Mama Elephant, and it's one of their stamp sets that is a greeting stamp set that showcases a large scripty style greeting with smaller coordinating phrases that really work together to create incredible cards that focus on the message, and I absolutely love that. I am starting with a piece of watercolor cardstock and I'm inking up my stamp with some Versamark ink. What I wish I would have done before I did this is go ahead and use a powder bag or an anti-cling type of powder tool before, because the embossing powder stuck to a few places, and so if you do that, you can always take a paintbrush and remove some of those little specks of embossing powder from the image that you've stamped if you need to, which is what I did here. Most of the time I try to use an anti-cling tool, but I forgot. It's really important here because I don't want any kind of messy looking specks. Next, I die cut this with one of the Madison Avenue frames, and then I'm going to use both the frame and that centerpiece to do some embossed resist. I'm using picked raspberry and dried marigold distress inks. I thought both of these would be beautiful, kind of feels like spring a little bit and would be perfect for this. You can use any color combination you like. I also think it would be incredible to create maybe a set of cards using the same technique and just change up the smaller sentiment that you use. I'm using Believe in Miracles from the His Love stamp set, but you could use any of them. This is also a great design to use with lots of the stamp sets from Mama Elephant that are very similar. They have several different kind of themed ones. There's a birthday one, just a note one that's kind of more of a general everyday type of one. Lots of different ones like this that you could do the same exact design with, just changes up the greetings you're using. Once I have that distress ink, I'm going to spritz it with water from a distress sprayer for that great distress background and blot it dry with a paper towel, and also buff off any of the ink that might be on top of the embossed areas. Now there's some cute little flourishes here on both sides of the greeting that I'm taking a little picked raspberry distress ink and picking it, I pressed it on an acrylic block to kind of create a watercolor, and it's going to just make those areas darker on my design, and I'm filling those in. I'm also going to use a little dried marigold for a couple of them that are more up in the orange area of the card. Nice little accents here, and just kind of draws your attention to those areas. Go ahead and fill that in a little bit better. For the smaller Believe in Miracles greeting, I'm going to stamp this on some black cardstock using Versamark ink, and heat emboss that with white embossing powder as well, and then trim this into a thin strip. And the first one didn't seem very even, so I stamped it again. Then I'm going to flip that strip over and I put some adhesive on it. Now originally I thought I would leave the greeting long, and this is where it kind of comes into play where you work with your card and just personal preference. I went ahead and did that thinking I liked it across the bottom, and it would be fine. It really would. But I kind of felt like it was overpowering the design. So I am going to trim that down here in a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and add a few little embellishments with some Nouveau crystal drops in the ripened pumpkin color. These will dry and look like enamel dots, but you're creating your own. I love that you have an endless supply of enamel dots when you use the Nouveau crystal drops. I'm applying those to my card. That had a little air bubble in it, so I popped it. And then I'm just snipping down the ends of this greeting, and I'm going to place it, kind of shift it over and to the right, and I think that this just looks so much better. Next, I'm going to put some adhesive on a white side fold card base, and then instead of putting it on these pieces, and take them to the card base. And I accidentally smudged a couple of the crystal drops. Instead of starting all the way over, I just went ahead and reapplied those. But here's the adhesive on the card base itself. I'm going to start with a frame, and I had a couple of additional frames left over from another project, so I'm going to use those to build up this frame to make it a tiny bit dimensional. You could also use foam adhesive on the back if you wanted to. I'm going to layer 2 of those, one on top of another, those kind of solid white frames. I am inlaying that center panel, and then I will finish with the distress inked frame on top. A lot of times I love to do the distress ink frame that matches the inside panel just because it adds a lot of color. There's not a ton of other embellishment going on in this card, and the white on white is fine, and a lot of times I do like that. But for this card, I think the finished frame that's slightly higher up than the inside greeting panel of the frame really draws your eye in, plus it's really pretty and colorful. So again, just some nice strong adhesive all the way around. I'll line up my frame, being pretty careful not to press it in place until I make sure it's lined up. And that is going to finish off this card showcasing the Mama Elephant His Love stamp set. The supplies I've used to create this card are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube. Please subscribe for weekly card making and stamping videos. Here are a couple more videos showcasing stamps and dies from the February 2017 Mama Elephant release that you might be interested in. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.